Salve mates, I hope everything is covered in Italian sunshine at your end. Imagine asking a Roman a simple question. What year is it? You would expect a number, something clean and universal. But instead you would get an answer like, it is the year of consulship of Julius Caesar and Marcus Bibulus. And to Romans that was precise and normal. That was how time worked, because Romans did not think of time as a long, endless line of numbers. For them, a year was another position on a timeline. It was a piece of lived reality that was mainly connected to politics and power. They did not ask, which year is it? They asked, what was happening this year or who is in charge? So, how would a conversation between two Romans discussing history play out?
Do you remember when the amphitheater in Fidenae collapsed, killing many?
That happened before the Great Fire, right? Yes, that was some years earlier. The fire happened during the consulship of Bassus and Crassus, if I'm not mistaken.
Right, Bassus and Crassus. So the collapse would place it well before the fire then. I was still young at the time.
Yes, and it was not long after the German campaign ended. My father used to speak about it often.
Then it must have been during the years of Tiberius's rule? Probably after his Decimalia.
Wasn't it during when Gaius came to power? Things were already unstable, but not yet as chaotic as they became.
No, it certainly happened before the consulship of Geminus and Geminus. Two consuls bearing the same name. At last, a year with only one name to forget.
So we can eventually pinpoint that they are talking about years between 24 and 29 when amphitheater in city of Fidenae collapses, killing 20,000 spectators, which happened in 27 AD. So just an example how the Roman dating system worked. Let's start with what looks to us like the obvious solution. AUC, ab Urbe Condita, from the founding of the city. Take 753 BC, the traditional date of Rome's foundation, and just count forward. Year 1, year 100, year 700, just like we count today. The system that makes the most sense to us made the least sense to them. Why? Because it was too abstract. Saying year 700 since founding of Rome tells you nothing about the present day. It tells you nothing about who holds power, what wars are happening, and what kind of a world you are living in. Even worse, the starting point itself was uncertain. The famous 753 BC comes from the scholar Varro, writing centuries after the supposed event, and other historians gave different dates. So even Livy admits that early history is an uncertain and mixed with legend. Instead, Romans used consular dating. Every year, two consuls were elected, the highest magistrates of the Republic. Their names defined the entire year. So instead of saying 44 BC, which wouldn't really make sense, a Roman would say in the consulship of Caesar and Antony. Laws used it. Treaties used it, historians used it, even tombstones used it. Your life, your death, your entire existence was tied to the names of politicians. This system worked because of something crucial, the Fasti Consulares, the official lists of consuls, year by year, name by name. Think of it as a database. If you needed to know when something happened, you located it in the chain. The system doesn't give you distance, it gives you context. When we hear 1855, we know roughly where it sits in history. We understand how far away it is. But when a Roman hears the year of Caesar and Bibulus, he doesn't think about distance. He thinks about politics, he thinks about power, about what kind of time that was. It is about meaning, not measurement. Romans did not need a universal dating system like we have today. Everything that mattered was Roman. Their world was Roman. It only needed to work inside the empire. And inside Rome, consular dating was perfect. It linked every year to the same shared political outline. Romans used events as anchors. When something happened between the expulsion of the kings around 510 BC and the sack of Rome in 387 BC, Romans would think this happened shortly before the sack. Time was understood through relationships, and for most people, even that level of detail was unnecessary. Ordinary Romans did not think in centuries. They thought in lifetimes, maybe 50 to 100 years, what their parents remembered, what their grandparents talked about. Beyond that, it became simply the past, the time of the ancestors. Precision didn't matter. On the contrary, the vagueness suited them. Roman families built their prestige through ancestors, sometimes even inventing them, linking themselves to famous figures, to early consuls and heroic events. So the vague dating system with no precision actually suited their needs for them to create a perfect fictional ancestry for them to brag about. Now let's move forward. The Republic becomes the Empire. Consuls still exist, but they are no longer the center of authority. The emperors are. So a new system appears dating by the reign of the emperor, in the 3rd year of Augustus. This system fits a monarchy better, but it doesn't immediately replace consular dating. The two systems overlap and sometimes both appear in the same documents. Consular dating continues then for centuries, even into late antiquity, and the last recorded consulships appear in the 6th century AD. Then comes a decisive break. In 535 AD, under Emperor Justinian, the consulship is effectively abolished. And with it, the old system collapses and later gets replaced by our AD, Anno Domini. So in the end, both systems, our and theirs, represent completely different ways of thinking. Roman system ties time to people, to power, to events. It works perfectly inside a shared cultural world. The modern system is global, abstract, numerical. It allows comparison across continents, across civilizations, across thousands of years. And that is the real difference. We measure time with numbers. Romans measured time with people. And once you understand that, their system stops looking primitive and it starts looking like exactly what it was. A system perfectly designed for the Roman world. Thank you for watching, and next time you hear a year, remember, a Roman would have answered with names, not numbers. Stay strong.